What's up, my crypto legends? In today's episode, we are going to check out the BTC US dollar pair here on the 4-hourly chart. As long as we remain below this uptrend line, as you can see on the chart, I am going to remain bearish. I'm going to show you some different levels that we need to break so we can turn bullish again. Also, the Ethereum US dollar pair, we broke this uptrend line and we are now retesting it as resistance. If we manage to get above it, we are going to turn bullish again. We've also got incredible bullish fundamentals. The number of accumulating addresses is still growing. People are not selling their Bitcoin. People are not transferring their Bitcoin from their wallets. And also $37 trillion wealth transfer set to boost Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, says Morgan Creek Digital's Mark Yusko. And public companies will mirror Tesla's Bitcoin investment, says wealth management exec. And here is why. Guys, before we start with this episode, I need you to go below the video and smash up the like button, please. This is going to help the channel extremely. Said this, let's go straight into the content. Hello there, Andy here, and welcome back to another episode of Bitcoinsensus, where you subscribe for the quickest technical analysis and news on Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and the financial markets. I am not a financial advisor, so don't buy or sell anything that I say, and if you do so, do your own research. Said this, let's go straight into the charts. Okay, first I want to show you the significance of this uptrend channel. We have tested it before as support and resistance, and I'm going to show you here since the beginning of January. As you can see, we have multiple points here as support. Then we broke below it and then came back up, retested it as resistance. We managed to break here the trend line and retested it a few times as support, as you can see here on the chart. And then we broke below it. So there is a very likelihood that we are going to retest it now as resistance right here. It is very important that we do manage to get above this square box and this trend line. I'll show you now on the hourly. Here you can see the uptrend channel tested as support several times, and we did fail to maintain above it here. We had this huge massive wick, a lot of buying and selling pressure at the same time. There was a huge wick here and we didn't manage to stay above the trend line. We broke below it and now it looks like that we're going to retest it as resistance. It is super important that we do break this in the short term. If not, it is very likely that we come back down and retest the $46,000 area, which is heavy support like I showed you in yesterday's video. This is very big support. As you can see here on the VPVR, there's a huge amount of volume here traded, so this acted as really heavy support. If we break the $46,000 range, we could come all the way down to the $42,000 range. This was the all-time high from January, first stop, and if this fails as support, we could come all the way down to the $38,000 range. This was when Tesla announced that it was buying $1.5 billion of Bitcoin, so this is going to be major support also. But first up would be the $42,000, and if we manage to break this resistance, then this would be the end of this correction. In my opinion, we have the resistance here from this trend line over here, and also we have this candlestick, as you can see, the wick, and with this huge amount of volume. So this is going to be resistance also. It has been resistance in the past also, that we can see here. It did not manage to hold as support. We broke below it and now we have this major resistance area, which is around the $51,500 and the $52,000 area. So if we break this to the upside, then I'm going to remain bullish. I think we are going to continue the uptrend. Let's take a look at the Ethereum US dollar chart. Ethereum still bearish in my opinion in the short term, but the good thing about Ethereum is that we had this major bounce around the $1,400 area. It was the 2018 all-time high, and it was super resistance here. We managed to break out of it, so it was very likely that we were going to see a bounce. We did mention this in yesterday's video, but we also have this uptrend, as you can see, major support, also this uptrend, and we did not manage to stay above it here, and we broke below it, and now it's going to retest as resistance. As you can see here in the chart, this has also been support in the past here and also resistance. So we need to get above the $1,700 area and above this trend line so we can continue the uptrend, in my opinion. And in the 15-minute chart, we can see that we bounced nicely around the $1,400 range and we formed this W reversal pattern. But now we are struggling to get above this resistance. As you can see here, we need to get above this resistance green box and also the trend line just above the $1,750 range. And we will continue the uptrend if we get above these levels. Let's take a look at this amazing chart. It is super important that we do check out some other charts and other fundamentals apart from the Bitcoin price and somebody on CNBC saying that this is it and the Bitcoin price is going to crash. No guys, we need to check out some other stuff. In this chart here, we can see the number of accumulating addresses, the 7-day moving average here in the orange. This means the number of accumulating addresses is only growing since mid-2018. In the black, we have the Bitcoin price, and in the orange, the number of accumulating addresses. So since the beginning, when we entered the bear market and the Bitcoin price was dropping heavily, then yes, the people were getting Bitcoin out of their wallets to exchanges, probably to sell. But since mid-2018, the number of accumulating addresses, just adding Bitcoin to the addresses and not taking it out, has just been growing since mid-2018 from 375,000 all the way to 525,000 now in February. So this is just growing. People are just accumulating and accumulating. We did have a little dip here at the end of 2020, but we straight away broke a new all-time high now at 525,000 active addresses accumulating Bitcoin. And as you can see, in late 2017, we had this huge parabolic phase. We are still not entering any parabolic phase. And when we get into a parabolic phase is when you need to be cautious. This means that we are probably entering to the end of the bull market. But anyway, looking at the fundamentals, it does look like that we still have a long run for the Bitcoin price. Let's check out this news today. 37 trillion wealth transfer set to boost Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, says Morgan Creek Digital's Mark Yusko. The co-founder of cryptocurrency hedge fund Morgan Creek Digital, Mark Yusko, says millennials will forever change the financial landscape after inheriting trillions of dollars from their parents. In a new interview with podcaster and analyst Preston Pish, Yusko cites data from Deloitte that shows $37 trillion is set to be passed down to millennials, who are avid adopters of digital technologies and cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum. He says, my generation is going to transfer $37 trillion to millennials, and it isn't going to be invested in IBM stocks, it isn't going to be invested in government bonds, and it isn't going to be invested even in Tesla. It's going to be invested in DeFi, it's going to be invested in Bitcoin, and it's going to be invested in Ethereum. He says it's going to be the greatest wealth creation we've ever seen in the world. Yusko says the difference between the new generation and their parents are stark. By and large, he says the older generation will continue to use traditional brokers, own gold, and view Bitcoin with skepticism. Meanwhile, millennials are on the entirely different page, says Yusko, setting the stage for a wave of crypto asset adoption and a generational shift away from precious metals. I absolutely agree with what you're saying. There is a huge transition now into the digital world, and trillions of dollars are going to be passed from the elderly to the millennials, and all of this needs to be invested somewhere, and it's most likely into the digital world, and a lot of it is going to go into Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Let's take a look at the next news. Public companies will mirror Tesla's Bitcoin investment, says wealth management exec. Dan Ives, the senior equities analyst at investment banking firm Wedbush Securities, says he expects more publicly traded companies to jump onto the Bitcoin bandwagon in the coming months. In a new CNBC Squawk Box interview, Ives says he believes that Tesla will add more to $1.5 billion to its Bitcoin position as the electric vehicle maker sees tremendous results from its initial investment. I think this is not just fad. I think Tesla is going to double down on its Bitcoin investment, and you've seen this from a transaction perspective as well. But no doubt they've made about $1 billion on paper from Bitcoin. That's more they've made from profits in all the electric vehicle sales in 2020. I think it speaks to what we're seeing in terms of this market. They're going to dive into the deep end of the pool in Bitcoin because they're not just doing it from the investment perspective, but from the transaction perspective. The Wedbush Securities Managing Director also notes that he expects more public companies to follow Tesla's footstep as the theme of adding BTC into the corporate treasuries become more mainstream. In our opinion, we think that 3 to 5% of public companies will go down this route over the next 12 to 18 months from an investment perspective. But until regulatory goalposts are put in, we don't think it reaches up too much beyond that. So is Tesla going to double down on its investment and other companies are going to follow, or is Tesla going to pick up profits and forget about Bitcoin for the future? Let me know your opinion in the comment section, guys. This is going to be it for today's episode. Make sure to check out the Bitcoinsensus website. We've got great tutorials and reviews on how to buy, how to store, and how to trade Bitcoin safely. We've got the latest news and technical analysis, so I'll be leaving a link in the description so you can check it out. And if you haven't seen the best tutorial of the Jujex leverage trading platform, I'll be leaving a video popping up on your screen, guys. A massive thank you for tuning in. Make sure to smash up the like button, and I will see you in the next one.